Okay, I'm going to try to work through this model in a fairly straightforward way if I can. I've included all of the mistakes that I could make in the text, so I'm going to try to get this right. But I may make a couple here. So let's start off with an ellipse on the front plane centered on the origin. Try to drag this straight over, get that symbol for the horizontal, and put in some dimensions just for reference. I don't always work with dimensions, but sometimes I do. So I think we put in 6 in one direction, 3.3 in the other. It helps if you can look at something straight on. And one good way to do that is remember all the shortcuts for front, top, and side. Or you can just use the space bar and get at it this way. It's not fully defined right now because I've got to give this ellipse some sort of rotational orientation. Okay, there I've got it. So now I'll get out of here, go to the right plane, and sketch something on the right plane. So I'm going to sketch in a line here, get something that's about the right size, and then I'll use a number of arcs. Arcs can be kind of hard to deal with once you get them in. If you're trying to adjust them, especially if you're getting a bunch of them all together at the same time. So I'm just going to try to sketch it in the way I want it. And the only thing I'm going to put in is for reference a couple of dimensions so I know approximately what's going on here. Okay. And then I want to get like a height dimension. Okay, and make this got that the wrong way. Okay, now in the text we flipped this over to the other side with a derived sketch, so I'm going to try that again. Select that sketch from the feature manager, select the right plane, and then insert derived sketch. Now the derived sketch shows up over here, which isn't where I want it at all. This is the kind of thing that you can just drag around. It's a fixed shape at this point. Now you got to flip it over. The only way to do this, well, there's a couple of ways to do it, but the cleanest way to do it is to go to Tools, Sketch Tools, Modify. This is a tool that's not used very much. And then if I go right here, it's going to flip it. I flipped it the wrong way. Let's flip it the other way. Okay, I'm using my right mouse button. If you can't see that, the right mouse button the icon keeps changing, saying what it's going to do. Okay, so this is bringing up an icon that's off the screen here. I'll just say, and you can use this for other things as well. All right, so now I'm going to drag this down there. All right, so I got that set up. Now let's do the same exact thing for the top plane, but I want this to be slightly larger, and I want to remember what those dimensions were that I used. Okay. So now on the top plane, open a new sketch. Draw a line. Give myself a couple of arcs. Remember, this one was an Audi. This one was an Audi. Not an Audi like an A7 or an A6 or something. It's a Audi. It's concave or convex. Okay, so now I want this one to be a little bit larger. That's good enough. And I want this one to be about the same height, which was, I think it was about that. Alright. So you can fiddle with that around to adjust it later. Now we're going to put, again, the same copy over here. So click on the sketch, click on the top plane, insert derived sketch, drag the derived sketch over, tools, let's get that again, tools, sketch tools, modify, and then you get this funky origin looking thing, and you right click on one of those dots, say close, drag the point that you want over onto the point of the ellipse. Okay, now that didn't fully define, and that's because it's still allowing you to rotate it. So you can take this and make it horizontal, which isn't right. Okay, so in that case, grab that and this and make them parallel. Okay, that should correct that. Let's just go back to this first sketch and make sure that I got this one right. Okay, this is not just for fun. Let's take this, make it a weird angle, and make it vertical. Okay, that's not right. All right, that's just not right. So the only way to really get this defined the way you want it is to define it with regard to something outside the sketch. So I'm going to make that parallel. Now that's fully defined. Even though my original sketch was not fully defined, I wanted that other one fully defined. Anyway, so now I want to make a solid loft. And let's click this. I'm going to click a consistent element on a consistent end to do this. So I'll click this bottom line on the outside, toward the outside edge every time. That means SolidWorks is going to try to connect those points. And if I don't do that, then I'm going to have to fiddle around with getting the connectors straightened out later on. Okay, so I've selected all of these. I didn't get the guide curve that goes all the way around, but see, it doesn't close the shape. So there's an option that's down here that says close loft, and this is one of the reasons why I use the loft feature. And also because it does completely the wrong thing here. Let's see what happens. Okay, it snapped to the correct thing. The preview was wrong. All right. I don't know. I can't tell you what's going on there with the preview, but anyway, we got this correct in the long run. All right, so now if you need to, you can go back and adjust the sizes and the shapes of this, but it's nice that you have all those curved surfaces because they've got double curvature. That reflects light a lot more nicely than just flat surfaces. Okay, so now I want to get the Z here in the middle, and I'll go back to the front plane, open a new sketch on the front plane, use my sketch text, and I want to sketch a capital Z, and I'm going to, you see it's showing up here. I'm going to go down and turn off use document font, select, we'll go down to, I got all sorts of stuff in here. Gaudy Stout. because it's a nice funky font. And this one, I think I said I wanted a 2.5. I'm just going to use the units, not the points here. Try to get it bold. And say okay. All right, so that's a good start. Now I want to rotate this like 21 degrees. I think I said 21, and may want to adjust the position of this somewhat. I actually want one corner to touch down here and the other corner to touch up here. So let's move this. Okay. Get rid of that edge. Delete. Now you can get out of the sketch text and drag this around if you want to be a little more precise about it. Okay, so you know, this is about right. I don't really want that to have a sketch relationship there. You can drag this point with the control down, and that will keep it from picking up sketch relations. Okay, anyway, that's good enough. From here, I'm just going to extrude this up. We had it about 1.5, so, or 0.15. So I'll do that same number here. Now, one thing I should have done, and let's go back and edit this feature, is I need to turn off the merge result because I need to have access to the whole feature. And so now if I click this, it's not merged. We've got two separate solid bodies, and I can still merge that later. But all right, so let's create an offset plane, and I want to offset it from this face about 1/10 of an inch, I'm going to guess. So say okay on that. Now from here I want to look square down onto this face, and this is going to take some time. So I think in the playback I'm just going to speed this up a lot. But what I'm going to do is try to make an offset. You can't make a real offset of this because it's just it will intersect itself. So let's go through here, and wherever there's a corner, I'll put in several points. This is going to be nasty at first, okay? And you know, places a tight curvature. I'm trying to put in extra points. It's not going to do what you want it to do right away. Some people are going to try to insist on using a style spline. Good luck. If you want to do that, that's it's up to you. I'm just going to use this. It's a lot of points. Yes, I'm trying to do it with a single spline. That might be a mistake, but I'm probably going to have to come back and adjust this later. Okay, I'm definitely going to have to adjust it. So I want to get it close to a real offset shape, but at the same time, let's insert a spline point here. At the same time, I don't want it too goofy looking, but I don't want it to look sterile and too perfect. I don't think there's going to be a lot of danger of it looking too perfect here, because this font to begin with is a little bit funky. So we'll go with the funk part of it. And okay. I spent more time on the one that I created for the example, and then I'm spending on this, but okay. Usually when I've taken a lot of time and I've tweaked something quite a bit, one of the things I like to do is I just like to make sure that the spline is not too kinked up. So I'll select on the spline, scroll all the way to the bottom, and just hit relax spline. Now you see that changed the shape of it somewhat. So I'm going to have to go in here and make some adjustments. The problem with this is that you don't want your model changing shape on you later on. So I always, especially if I've been tweaking the spline a lot, I always go back and make sure that the spline is relaxed. Okay? As long as it's relaxed, it's not going to change shape on you. All right, so now we've got this. Let's get out of here and see what happens if I try to loft. So I'm just going to select the face of the Z, and then I'm going to select the spline. All right, now if you're a great sketcher, you might get away with this working out for you, but you can see some places this is just going to twist a little bit too much for me. I can right click and show all connectors, and okay, you can see your connectors here are just too funky for words. You could try to go in here and edit all of these connectors, but see, I've selected that. One way to control that a little more directly is to use a 3D sketch. Okay, and the 3D sketch is going to take some time, because I'm just going to draw a series of lines, especially at these corners. Okay, and I should probably just take this solid and hide it. That'll make this easier. It's easier if you can go between points like that. That may or may not give you what you want it to do later on. Okay, now we've got this. All right, let's hope that's good enough. Now we're going to loft again. Let's select the face and the sketch. Okay, you can see it's getting all twisted and goobered up. So I'm going to turn off the mesh preview so I can see the lines that I've created for the guide curves. Okay, because I did all the guide curves in a single sketch, it's going to force me into the selection manager, so I can just pick something and hit the right mouse button to accept it. Pick, right click. Pick, right click. and that straightens it out. So that should be good. All right, now I've got my feature created. Now the other thing I did in the text was to create a surface here to kind of make this a little rounder. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the right plane. I'm going to make an arc that's pretty shallow, like that, and then go way out here and create a center line. This is a cheap way to create double curvature, but I'm going to do it anyway. Sometimes cheap works, and sometimes cheap is all you need. So let's try 5 degrees, and that's going to need a little more than that. We need a midplane. All right. So now I can use the replace face, which is this one. Okay, this is going to fail, I can tell you now. So we'll just go out and fix it. We need to make this center line a good bit further away. You notice I'm not using dimensions. A lot of people will be offended by that. Sorry. Sometimes this type of work, I mean, you can use dimensions, but it really, I mean, it slows you down. Sometimes I'll go back through when I'm done and add dimensions. Okay, let's talk about this replace face thing. I never get the idea of a replacement face and a target face, and, you know, what do they really mean by that? So I think they should have called these old face and new face, because that would have been clearer. That's the way I think about it, old and new. So I select the old and then the new, and then I hide the old or hide the new one, and you see that gives it a little bit of curvature. Now it's also gonna change the way your chamfer reacts here. Anyway, now you may want to, just to be complete, insert features. If I can get this to work right, insert features, combine is what I'm looking for, and combine these two solids. Say, okay, another way to do this would be to open a sketch on the back face, and then just grab this outer edge, use convert entities, which is going to be off the screen here for me. Working on a condensed screen is really not as easy as it looks. Okay, so then I'll extrude that a small amount. Let's see, let's make that 0.05. And what that does is that joins together the ellipse and the Z. And even if I hadn't used the combine, see, now I can go in and I can delete this combine, and they still join together. They still join together as a single body. He says, but it didn't really work that way. So let's. Something went wrong with this feature. Merge result should down here say all bodies. Something happened, and I just pressed the X, didn't I? This is this kind of stuff that goes wrong in real life. So I guess there's a reason why I'm showing you all the mistakes that I tend to make during the course of a modeling session. Okay, let's also, because of my video card, I've got this mess going on here, and I've got to turn this off every time. Anyway, so now you can put an appearance on here like a nice chrome, and then always remember to do the selection here for what the scope is, and come back. I like to use this flyout, and that allows me to turn off planes, specific planes, very easily. This is F8, the display pane. I use that a lot. And so you see now that's a pretty good looking emblem, right? You could put some sort of a different texture on the back side here if you wanted to give that like a, kind of a bubbly texture or something. It would stand out from the smoothness of the rest of the feature. See, there's something funky going on here because of my sketch. I can go in and fix that. Fixing things at this stage is expensive, just so you know. As soon as I fix that, then it could wind up that some of my 3D sketches blow up, and then that blows up everything that comes after it, and whatnot. So, you got to be careful. This is why you want to get things. You want to get things as right as you can while you're working. I was trying to do this very quickly, and I do have my other one here that I spent a little more time on. I've spent about 10 minutes, 15 minutes maybe working through this part, but the first time I did it, I took a little more time with it, and I was a little more precise about some of the things that I did. In any case, thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next example.